This documentary will showcase 4 different teaching strategies used to improve students' literacy and critical thinking skills in the classroom, especially in the areas of history and geography. The Fryer model is a graphic organizer for building students' vocabulary. This technique requires students to define target vocabulary and apply their knowledge by generating examples and non-examples, giving characteristics, and/or drawing a picture to illustrate the meaning of a word.
The Fryer model helps build vocabulary. So that's what we had various different terms that we came across this lesson so far, right? Okay, good. So we had many different words we came across. Therefore, I'm going to give you an example and I'm going to give you another word. So therefore, the word that I came up with was a celebrity. So we're going to, in the first box, we're going to write the word definition of the word. So a celebrity is a famous person, especially in entertainment, sports, and industry. And example of that would be Rihanna, Drake, Beyonce, NBA Youngboy, Nicki Minaj. I say that already. And then we say non-examples will be Miss Camp, Miss Molly, and Stevie Bellson. I don't know if y'all are celebrities, let me know.
Yes, celebrities.
Okay, I'm sorry. Some celebrities, some students are celebrities. And then facts about being a celebrity will be they'll be rich, they'll either be an actress or actor, and they either be white or black, right? So now, in your box, in that guy, in your circle, in your circle, you're going to put in the word migrants. Migrants, yeah. Migrants. M-I. Right, you ready? What do y'all need to spell it? M-I-G-R-A-N-T-S, migrants. So that's why you're going to give me the definition of what is a migrant. You're going to give me an example of a migrant, non-example of a migrant, hello, and facts and characteristics of a migrant, okay? You have exactly 5 minutes to do that. That's it. That's fine.
Preview questions are used in the classroom to allow students to grasp an idea of what they'll be learning beforehand. This strategy allows students to think, observe, and produce information.
Okay, good morning, grade 10 again. Again. So you all just came in. So you guys who just came in. Ladies? Okay. Okay, so I place the paper in front of you. It has several questions on it, correct? We're supposed to share with each other. Everyone has able to look at one? Okay, look. Those are the questions that I need you to look at as you watch the video. We're not listening to anything, we're using our eyes, okay? Good. So, those are the questions you're going to write points on them. So, everything off your desk. Everything off your desk. Take out a pen, please. Everything else is at the desk. watching. Still writing, it's still writing, it's still writing, it's still writing. One word answers, not paragraphs, not sentences. Okay, so everyone wrap up 1 minute, wrap up everything. Some of us all together for the video. Wrap it up for me. Discuss with your group members or whoever you share your paper with. What you observed throughout the video. I will see you and him working together. So working together to do assignment. Alright. It doesn't have to be correct. Just if I know what it's saying, that's fine. Everyone done? Even if you're not president, you don't answer your head, that's fine. Fine? Clear? Everyone have it? No? You don't have your head either? You have your head? Good. Okay. First question. Someone read the first question for me. What's happening at the start? Okay. What's happening at the start of the video? See what feels going on. What's the second? Anyone else? That someone that at the start of the video? Okay. Well, what's the second question?
What is the alarm phone seen on the video?
Okay. What is the alarm phone seen on the video? Okay. Anyone else saw anything else? Okay. So that okay. Huh? Okay. Third question.
What is the relationship between the last one and
Okay, so people that just saw the land form, so what's the relationship between humans and the land form? Positive relationship, negative relationship? They have to see this? It's a negative relationship, so therefore they're afraid, they run away from this. So therefore, huh? Sightseeing, so therefore they may have access as an adrenaline rush. Get my blood pumping. Okay, what's the fourth question?
What small details did you observe
Okay.
throughout the video?
Okay, what are the small details that you observe? Like it's small people fascinated by this, they took the time to record this, instead they run away or something? Maybe? Okay, what else? People on the boat that's watching, okay? So, all these small questions we answer together. Today's topic is about volcanoes, correct? That's what y'all gathered, right?
In the classroom, the teacher tends to be the mediator who gives all the information. But in many circumstances, students don't use writing as a way to improve their learning. The writing to learn strategy can help students produce work to show that they have mastered a concept or an idea. A common way in which teachers allow students to prove that they have learned is by creating a friendly letter.
A friendly letter. Basically, you know that the Eleutheran Adventure was faced with challenges when they left from Bermuda, when they went to Eleuthera. They had to face a lot of challenges in their life. Their life was hard, right? So now you're gonna write me a friendly letter, talking to someone, describing how life was in Eleuthera and Bermuda and what was going on. Describing in great detail for me, okay? So you're gonna create your friendly letter describing what was going on in Bermuda and Eleuthera and what affected your life. So, I'm going to take on the role of a Eleutheran adventurer. Put your name, your date, your grade on the paper.
ASQ3R is a comprehension strategy that helps students to think about a text they are reading whilst they are reading. Often categorized study strategy, ASQ3R helps students to get it the first time they read a text by teaching students how to read and think like an effective reader. This strategy includes the following steps: survey, question, read, recite, and review.
Because you will see these questions again, okay? So the paper I gave before you says the SQ3R method. You have that? Everyone has it on their desk? Have it? Everyone else, the paper says that the SQ3R method. You do? You don't have it? No, that's not. Okay, so when the notes that I gave you, you're going to study from them. Because you will see these questions again, correct? Correct. Okay, so the first part of the SQ3R is the survey section. So therefore, in the survey section, you're going to take the notes that I give you, and you're going to scan the piece of writing to establish its purpose and get the main idea from the notes. So therefore, you're not getting deep into it, but you're going to look over it, see what all it's saying, the topics, the titles, the pictures, or whatever is there. And then we're going to go into the question section. So therefore, you're going to read You're not going to read too deep into it, but you're going to read and you're going to come up with questions that you have answers about. Questions that, things which you have questions about, right? Because not everything in the information is going to understand. And you're going to create your own questions from it, right? And afterwards, then you're going to go into the R section, whereas now you're going to read deeply into the information, and you're going to search for the answers for the questions that you created from the notes. And then you're going to recite. You're going to recite the information that you found. So after you finish reading, you're basically going to find the answers for the questions. And then you're going to recite the information. So therefore, you're going to find a way. Either you write it down, or you keep saying to your head. What I do is I record myself on my phone, the information I play in my head when I sleep, when I play in my head, so that when I wake up, I'm basically singing it like a song, like that. And then after you finish reciting, you're going to read, recite, then you're going to review. So therefore, you're not just going to review this one time. You're going to do this over a period of time. So therefore, if you do it today, do it tomorrow, do it Thursday, and eventually this becomes like common knowledge to you, so you know this information on the back of your head. And when you constantly recite it, what happens is that you don't have to cram for the test. You don't have to try to jam everything in your head. And then when you get in the test, you see all the information leaving your brain before, right? So therefore, you're going to go survey, question, read, recite, review. Okay? Everyone understands? Any questions? Any questions? This is a good study strategy, okay? I use this. Okay? Good. So now we're going to conclude.
The use of the Fryer model strategy within my classroom was very successful because everyone enjoyed completing the assignment, including myself. This assignment was successful because it assisted my students in adding a word to their vocabulary that was directly related to the lesson. The majority of the class grasped the concept of how to complete the assignment in groups. However, even though they were placed in groups, there were 2 students who did not fully grasp what was going on to complete the assignment and contribute to the group. Therefore, with the assistance of their parents, they were able to grasp the concept and contribute to the group assignment, which was a very good thing. To introduce one of my lessons, I used the preview question strategy. I felt as though this strategy was too effective for my students. The reason I feel as though this strategy was too effective for my students was because before they were able to complete the assignment and for me to ask them to guess what is today's lesson, they were already telling me the answer of today's lesson before completing the assignment. Also, I feel as though this strategy would work better for lower stream classes as compared to middle stream classes. At the end of my lesson, I discussed with my class the importance of studying and what it can bring for them in the near future. As a result, I discussed with the class a study strategy known as the SQ3R strategy. I explained it and I broke it down into the most simplest form for my students to understand. However, I was unable to gather the information to prove that they actually used the strategy to prove that it was actually successful, because that was my last lesson with them. However, according to my cooperating teacher, she said that she felt as if they used the strategy and it was effective for everyone. In conclusion, the students who I have worked with at TV Bethel Senior High School are placed in classes based on their literacy and comprehension skills. Most of the students that I have worked with to complete this assignment had issues with pronunciation of vocabulary, reading ability, and comprehension skills that I observed that I taught them in different lessons. The literacy strategies that was used in this documentary is very helpful in assisting some of my weakest students to improve their reading comprehension skills. However, I had no issues with the majority of the strategies besides the preview question strategy, where I would have allowed my students to watch the video first, then complete the questions afterwards, which would have made them use their critical thinking skills even more, and which is necessary in the subject of history and geography. Also, I would recommend to other teachers and the Ministry of Education on the whole to use different literacy strategies in the classroom for all subject areas and make reading a key factor in educating today's youth. We have come to the end of my documentary. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. The end.